Hi, I'm Alibhai.
And I'm Zoe Jewell.
We are co-founders of WildTrack. What we do is we develop non-invasive monitoring strategies for endangered species.
All over the planet, species are in trouble. For example, the black rhino, there are only 5,000 left, and giant panda, fewer than 2,000 animals, and their habitat is shrinking all the time. So we really need to do something to protect these amazing species before they vanish forever. To make effective conservation decisions about where to place national parks, how to protect animals, we need to know how many animals we've got and where they are. This isn't quite as easy as it sounds. For example, if you look at an iconic species like the cheetah, into which millions of dollars have been pumped over the last few decades, we still have country-sized gaps in our knowledge about where cheetah roam. For more than 10 years, we lived and worked in Africa, working with traditional trackers who have the most incredible abilities to derive data from footprints. And through working with them, we learned that it was possible to adapt some of their techniques for people who weren't expert trackers, and that was the origin of our footprint identification technique.
We developed a footprint identification technique which enables us to identify individuals, to identify the gender, to identify the age class in some instances, and that enables us to gather the data that is needed.
And also, how we interact with local communities is really key to all this. Local communities around the world, people who live in close contact with wildlife, they are the key to sustainable wildlife conservation. If we as foreign researchers go in, collect our data and come out, probably nobody's going to be any better off. We need to build in that capacity on the ground. So now we have a wake-up call. These novel viruses like COVID emerge when we have very close contact with wildlife that has been disturbed, whether it be through wet markets or trade in parts or their habitat destruction. And we now have a unique opportunity to do something about this.
We started focusing in on non-invasive techniques because we realized that invasive techniques can have a negative impact in many different ways on endangered species. And now we've reached this situation with COVID-19 showing us that that interaction between wildlife and humans can have really, really dire consequences.
Whether we're in wildlife conservation or another field, we need to really try to come together to deal with some of these problems. We've made a good start during the COVID period by banning wet markets and some trade in endangered species, but there's so much more that needs to be done. And I think a multidisciplinary approach, using non-invasive approaches to try and leave animals to be in their natural environment is probably the best way forward.